Hey, it's ForeGolf Custom, and this is the review of TaylorMade's new M5 driver. We've got a new carbon crown and carbon sole. The weighting's been redistributed. Same hosel, same kind of face, that twist face is still there, but they now have these new injection ports. I mean, this driver is really, really good, but spins low. We're going to give you a player profile, and we're also going to give you an idea of how we're setting this up. Also, we're reviewing the M6 driver and also M6 irons in the next couple of weeks, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Low spin. Well, they say fast. I guess this is a point that we need to probably push here is, there is injection ports in the front of the face where what they've done is that they've thinned out the face above legal limits, and then they've injected some resin in there to slow it down. I guess the point we're trying to make is, we haven't really seen a slow TaylorMade.
Not in the last 10 years while they've been at the top of the game. They've always produced quite remarkable stuff.
So we're unsure of two things. Number one, we're unsure of whether that speed resin, makes a huge amount of difference to speed, because we haven't had a slow one in here ever. Yeah. Now, whether we're just getting juicy heads all the time, I don't know. But
good ones, yeah.
We're not seeing that speed. But rather than this be a speed story, I think this is a low spin story.
Yep.
So let's talk through a bit of the settings on how we've been setting this up, but also how does low spin then affect the driver in terms of what the people should be looking at?
Again, so for all intents and purposes, your track is in a T shape. So there's two weights in it, two 10-gram weights. They can either be front, back, middle. You've got loads of different places you can set it. I guess traditionally, the more weight you have at the front of the head, the lower it's going to want to spin. So there's always been one floating towards the front to the middle.
Yeah, but even with the previous drivers, Mac, we never had a situation where we needed weight up front, because if it's a low spin product, then force some weight up to the front.
Spin anyway.
It's not going to change. It's always going to be low spins.
Only if you have a massive height and spin problem do you ever need to do it.
So maybe a little bit of launch parameter.
Yeah.
But the reality is we've been pushing these out to the back, really. I see Tigers is up front centre and middle back. Yeah. And then Rory's, I think, is a little bit draw on his. He's obviously working. Actually, a great tip. Here's a good tip for you. One of the tech reps on tour for TaylorMade told me the best place to place the weights is actually in line with your miss. And that's what we do here. So if you miss it sort of more heel side, keep the weights on the heel side or back towards the heel. If you miss it more on the toe, keep them around towards the fade or toe side. Just a little tip there.
You can also use this product if you have a spin problem and a launch problem, but you also have a directional miss or a consistent directional miss, because the two weights will both go in the heel just about, and they'll definitely go quite easily into the toe. So then you can have an incredibly fade bias driver or an incredibly draw bias driver.
So then let's talk about the hosel and how you've been working the two together, because that's really important here about getting the right loft for this driver. Actually, while we're on it, lofts for this, so we've two heads. We've a tour head this year in the M5, which is coming in right-handed only, and it's 9 degrees and 10.5 degrees.
But if you're left-handed, don't be worried, because it's so low in spin, whether you're going to actually need that 435 head anyway is going to be questionable. So.
No. And in 460 then it comes in right-handed, 9, 10.5, and there's a 12, which actually is a driver I think people need to be looking at, really. Don't you agree?
Yep.
And then left-handed's got 9 and 10.5.
Because you've got the hosel setting again, plus or minus 2 degrees, with an upright and a flat, upright being more draw orientated. So you've got that as a setting, but again, if you need it open, go up in loft and lower it. We keep harping on about this from a TaylorMade's perspective. If you want it a little bit more closed, down in loft and close it up. Yeah,
and then I think swing the weights out to the back, because keeping them up front, unless you're really spinning it high, which to be fair, I don't think you're going to see it from this design. So get it to the back. It increases the MOI, gives you a little bit more sort of stability from the driver.
If you can spread them, it helps as well. So
great
from
tip.
An MOI perspective,
so low in the back and high in the back, and keep it out wide, or get it right down the channel and right in.
Like a stabilising bar, which is great.
The shafts that are coming in this, we've got a Tensai Orange, which is a great product. That AV Tensai is great in 60. And then there's that shaft that you like that has the smoke.
Has the smoke, yeah.
Do you think that shaft length, though? I just saw it on the spec line at 45.75 as a standard option. What's your thoughts on that as a standard length shaft?
Well, if we go back to the original conversation around this being a controller of speed, having length in the shaft tends to more often than not create speed. So if this is a product for controlling speed, having it long doesn't really make any logical sense. We've always traditionally had a tour orientated or a good player's driver at shorter lengths heavier shafts, more stability. Now, with the lightening of the carbon fibre, you can put lighter shafts into it, which is maybe opens the driver up to a few more players than it would have done in the past over maybe M3. So you've got that as an additional source, but it doesn't need to be long. It's a control-based product. It's about hitting fairways. It's about control and spin. So keep them short. Don't make them long for the sake of it. If you can handle it for speed, so be it, but otherwise, get rid of it.
It's fair to say that this TaylorMade M5 driver is a low spin story. Don't worry too much about the speed. This driver is suited for guys and girls that hit it strong and want to keep the spin down and keep the launch flat. So speed really isn't a big thing here. What it does extraordinarily well though is control spin. So make sure you're using the right shaft. The Tensei Orange and the smoke from Hazardous that come as standard with this club are pretty good, but you might want to dial into a couple of those other shafts that create a higher launch and get the ball into the air quickly, because this head will keep spin really flat. Phenomenal for golfers that play a lot of golf in the wind, and certainly in Ireland here, those links players, this is a driver to consider. Make sure you get fitted. As a TaylorMade Performance Studio, we are adjusting the weights a lot here to work with the driver in terms of the bad shot and where to keep that club head stable. So please work with the weight adjustability and work with the right shaft in this club. The type of player that's going to best suit is that stronger striker, someone that hits on it, which leads into the technique. You're gonna have to get some work done on this to get the maximum amount from the driver. It's all about where you hit. You gotta hit up on this. So positive attack angles for this driver and get the ball into the air, and then work with the settings, the sleeve and the loft and weights to get this thing dialed in perfectly for you. We've got some other videos from TaylorMade on our playlist. Why don't you check those out as well? And also, if you like what we're doing here in terms of information, please give us a like. And also, if you do know any of those golfers out there that hit the ball high, are looking to try and control their spin, maybe share this video for them. And until then, I'll see you at the next video. We should also